Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Crossover Ministries. My name is Nisha, and today I will be giving you guys the word. It's like a daily devotion, but I just want to share some things with you guys. Have you ever been rejected? Have people looked down on you, thought that you didn't look like you were qualified? Have you ever felt like you didn't qualify? And so I just kind of want to read like a little short story, which is a true story, because of course it's in the Bible. But I want to share with you guys, I'll be coming out of the book of First Samuel and then chapter 16. So this is about Samuel when he anoints David. Now the Lord said to Samuel, "You have mourned long enough for Saul. I have rejected him as king of Israel. So fill your flask with olive oil and go to Bethlehem. Find a man named Jesse who lives there, for I have selected one of his sons to be my king." But Samuel asked, "How can I do that? If Saul hears about it, he will kill me." "Take a heifer with you," the Lord replied, "and say that you have come to make a sacrifice to the Lord. Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you which one of his sons to anoint for me." So Samuel did as the Lord instructed. When he arrived at Bethlehem, the elders of the town came trembling to meet him. "What's wrong?" they asked. "Do you come in peace?" "Yes," Samuel replied. "I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Purify yourselves and come with me to this sacrifice." Then Samuel performed the purification rite for Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice too. When they arrived, Samuel took one look at Eliab and thought, sorry if I pronounced it wrong, "Surely this is the Lord's anointed." But the Lord said to Samuel, "Don't judge by his appearance or height, for I have rejected him. The Lord doesn't see the things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." So you guys, if you have been rejected by people, and I don't care if it's on the job, if it's in the family, maybe, I don't know, maybe friends, or just, people in general, that's just what it is. If you've been rejected, the Lord is saying that he approves you. So here, I just want to kind of share that with you guys, kind of give you a little bit of a background. Here, Saul is no longer God's pulled his pretty much his ranking as king, and he selected David to be that. So he sent Samuel to go and anoint David. So here Samuel was looking at, he was looking at maybe, here, I'm thinking it's the oldest brother or whatever of David's, and just assume maybe he just looked like he should be a king. And it seems like to me, because of the way they described Saul, I remember, maybe their builds were similar. And so it's just, and that's how people think, even now, like if you dress the best, they want to serve you. If you look like you have money, they want to serve you, if you drive a nice car and somebody might have like a car that's not as nice, people most likely would treat you totally different. And some of us, either you've probably been on both sides. Like I can say I've been on both sides, but it really sucks when you're on the other side, when people are looking down at you and they don't think you qualify. So you think about how in this story, and I'm gonna continue to read, David, here all his brothers went before him. All 7 of his sons went before him. And so, because Jesse had 8 sons. And so when the Lord was sharing all those with him, so here David, now if I keep reading, Samuel is keep on asking Jesse, like, okay, nope, this is not the one. So Jesse keeps sending another son. And then finally, Samuel asks, "Are these all the sons you have?" And so that was in verse 11, because I read all the way down to at first it was like 1 through 7. And so he went on, and then that's when, and I'm going to turn it on over. "There is still the youngest," Jesse replied, "but he's out in the fields watching the sheep and goats." "Send for him at once," Samuel said. "We will not sit down to eat until he arrives." So Jesse sent for him. He was dark and handsome with beautiful eyes, and the Lord said, "This is the one, anoint him." So as David stood there among his brothers, Samuel took the flask of olive oil he had brought and anointed David with the oil. But the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David from that day on, and then Samuel returned to Ramah. So God had given David, and you guys got to remember, he was really young when Samuel first went to him, and he had anointed him, and then the Spirit of God was on David. And so that's the thing, you guys, like, here David was out there with the animals. See, you got looked down on when you were, working with sheep or goats back then. That was like a low class type of job or whatever. And you got to remember, David brothers, they were like in the service, well built. They even though they said that David was dark and handsome, but I think about what the Lord was saying, don't go by height. That means I'm thinking the brother that Samuel was looking at, he must have been a very tall, similar build, like I was saying, to Saul. And so that lets me know that, people back then, they kind of judge you, like if you were tall, like, people be like tall, dark, and, and beautiful, they just assume, if you're tall, then, you just got this and that. And I just remember, I can even give you an example. I just remember, and this is kind of off, but I was really short, and still I'm only 5'3", barely. But I remember me and my sister, we're 15 months apart, and she was like really, so much taller than me when we were kids. And I remember everybody like, oh, she's gonna be a model. As a kid, you're thinking like a model, like I want to be a model. You just think that, models are just so beautiful, and you just want to be, for a girl, you want to be that model. I don't care who you are, you want to be that model. And so I just remember, how I felt, like, because I felt like I was short and it wasn't good enough. It's not that I thought I was ugly or anything, or, but it was just like, that was still something that was planted in my head and made me think that I didn't qualify enough, And so that's the thing, you guys, like, God had chose David, which is the bloodline of Jesus. And so when he did that, it just opened up doors. So if you are personally feeling like you're being rejected somewhere, like I said, on the job, just in your family, the Lord approves you. And so I'm going to read in 1 Samuel, actually, no. I just want you guys, let me just say this. I want you to really pay attention how God really told Samuel that he was telling them, and it was just like a correcting moment. Like, don't look at people outward appearance. Because see, the thing is, you guys, you could be fooled. You could be fooled by these people. You might think that they qualify. You might think this person, oh, this person's got the look. This is it. This is who I am. But you guys got to be careful. Like, so I think about that. You got to be careful, like, especially if you're going into like ministry and maybe a business and things like that. You got to be careful who these people are. Don't just look at the outward appearance. Like, that's the whole point of interviewing people, and they'll ask you, hey, come back for a second interview and a third one. So, and it's because they're just trying to see. They want to make sure, because, you got to think there's so many people that's out there, so many candidates that maybe they could, but it's just something, you want the right one. And so that's the thing. Like, God could have chose anybody. Like, he could have chose anybody to probably be king, but he chose David because David was after God's very own heart. And that's something his brothers didn't have. Now, that doesn't mean they didn't believe in him. I'm not saying that. But there was something more that David had than others. And so, yes, if the Lord is working on you and if he sees what your heart, like the things that you have in you, he wants to use you for mighty things. I was reading also in 1 Chronicles 28:9, and I wrote it down. It says, and Solomon, my son, learn to know the God of your ancestors intimately. Worship and serve him with your whole heart and a willing mind, for the Lord sees every heart and knows every plan and thought. If you seek him, you will find him. But if you forsake him, he will reject you forever. But I want to make sure I let you guys, like, remember this. Like they said, for the Lord sees every heart and knows. Like, he knows what's in your heart. He knows what's good, what's bad. Like, you think about how with David, when David slipped up, God has sent someone to come and correct him because, there was something in David's heart with when he was lusting. And so, and that's the thing, but God still favored David. I mean, look, that was David talking to his son Solomon, giving him, because, as he was, blessing him because he's going to be the next king. He was just telling them, like, in order to be a successful king, these are the things you need to do, because David had to learn, he had to learn the hard way. So here he's giving advice, to his son, so his son will know. And that's another thing too. So if you are young and your parents is telling you things because they already done walked it out before you, take that, because this right here should confirm that for you. But yes, and anyway, Solomon ended up being a king, and he ended up being a really good king, but David was the best king. But anyway, so, and then it says, when he was saying, like, be intimate, that's the thing, like, you guys, David was very intimate, from a young age, he was always singing songs to God, even when he was going through the hardest time, like, he still praised God. He worshiped God through the good and the bad. He even got naked, and when I say that, like, yeah, he might have came out of his clothes, but he exposed everything to God. He didn't hide anything, for what? And so there was joy in that. And so, and that's what we want. We want to be able to come to God, you guys. That's what I'm saying. Like, not to people, not to your mama, not to your pastor, not to your daddy, none of them. We need to be upfront with God with every issue that we have, the good and the bad. We need to make sure that we are sharing these things with him, because only he will, seriously, he's the only one that truly knows you better than you know yourself, because he already know what tomorrow's going to be and tonight. Like, he knows the day you were born, and he knows the day you're going to, leave. And he knows who's going to go to heaven and who's going to go to hell. He knows all of that stuff. So, that's another thing too. Like, so you just make sure that you are being so intimate with him and fellowshipping with him, and learning who he is. So that way he can mold you and you can understand him more. So that's the one you want to, if you're going to imitate anybody, imitate him. Like, that's who you want to be like, at the end of the day, like, you want to be like Christ. And so I think about that, how he sent his son to do that, for us. And so anyways, I'm just kind of reading this. It says your work is to discover your world, and then with all your heart, give yourself to it. Anyways, that's kind of odd. So yeah, you want to make sure that I'm gonna tell you that the Lord he knows his children right now during this time who's really truly seeking him. Now, you got the religious ones going around quoting all kinds of scriptures and probably wearing, like, I think about those prayer cloths and, all this extra stuff, just trying to get recognition. Oh, excuse me. Oh, Lord, thank you. Just want to get all this recognition and stuff. And the Lord, he doesn't care about none of that. That's what I said. It doesn't matter if you are at the church volunteering all the time. It doesn't matter. He don't care about none of that. He's looking at the heart. He's looking at the heart. Is your heart really in it? Are you doing this because you love him? Or are you just doing this just to make other people proud of you? Just saying. Because you probably don't want to get rejected by people, right? But you can get rejected by God. You see what he just did to Saul. So don't think that it won't happen. And so, yes, but the Lord is, he's looking for people with amazing hearts that's after him. Because like I said, if you are after him, most likely you will succeed. You will do mighty things. The Lord will be with you. So, just remember that, to seek him. And this is for me, you guys. This is so for me as well. I can say pretty much everything that I've probably said. Like I said, every day I give a word. it is helping me, you guys. It is helping me so much. And sometimes you just feel like, Lord, it's just, I always thought like, what am I going to run out of things to say? And it's just amazing. Some of the things that he'll share, and you just be like, wow, because he's grooming me as well. So, but I pray you guys receive this. Like I said, that I was reading out of 1 Samuel 16. For those of you who probably want to go back and maybe read a little bit more. And I was reading out the NLT version, but I do like the King James version. Sometimes it's a little hard to read it like fluently. So, but I always say, use more than one Bible, but I like the King James version. But NLT is just very easy to understand. But you got to be careful. Make sure you looking up words and things like that, so you can really truly understand what you're reading. Because remember, you guys, the enemy, he already taken scriptures out, and that's nothing too why the King James version is probably really important, because there's scriptures that are missing in the new Bibles. And so that's why you should, and just ask the Holy Spirit to reveal those things to you. If there's more, I believe that's why the whole point of us having the Holy Spirit, because he'll highlight things that need to be highlighted. So yes, like I said, I know all you on here listening, you guys all got amazing hearts, and the Lord wants to use you. Like I said, even if sometimes like you'll have, I remember somebody did share this with me, well, you don't even like people and stuff like that. And I just thought to myself, like, first of all, I thought it was rude. And I'm like, it's not that I don't like people. I don't have to just be up under people all the time to make me feel better. I don't have to. And I don't mind being around, people, but I'm just like, I just don't have to, be around them constantly, like, in order for me to get my day going, like, if someone doesn't call me, I won't get upset and feel like, oh, they don't like me or anything like that. It's like, no, it's just, that's just, who I am. And I'm not going to change that, because some people, maybe there's a void, something that they're missing. But no, one thing I'm telling you guys, one thing I love the most is how I get to spend a lot of my time, even if I'm just, laying around or cleaning my house. I'm always cleaning. I just try to seek him, I try to talk to him, and I'm not perfect or anything. Like I screw up too, but I get back up. I just try all over again, and I just do what he asks, and, some days God's got to give it to me. And then, a lot of times, the Lord tell me I'm on the right track. So, don't let nobody push you into being who, they want you to be. Actually, I'm going to talk about that, but I'm going to end this video, and I just want to tell you guys thank you again, and thank you for joining me on Crossover Ministries. And I pray that this is a blessing to you, and that it's a word of encouragement for you, and share it with whomever that the Lord places on your heart to share with. And I just want to say thank you guys again. My name is Nisha. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.